Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Science Stories. My name is Mrs. C. Today, I'll be reading the book Little Sunflower. Before we begin, let's look at some of the vocabulary words that you'll hear during this story. Little Sunflower. Here are 6 vocabulary words that I think are important for you to know before we begin reading. The first one is trowel. The next one, shoots. Unfurl, pollen, floret, and our last one is life cycle. Let's look at these words and their definitions with some pictures to help us understand better. Here's a photo of a trowel. So a trowel is a small handheld tool with a curved scoop for lifting plants or dirt. So it's like a small shovel, right? Shovels dig big holes. A lot of times they have a very long handle. A trowel has a short handle. It's for you to use with your hands. Maybe if you're just digging a small hole or filling a pot with dirt, that's a trowel. Our next word was shoots. So the shoots are any plant stem together with its leaves, buds, and flower buds. So right here you can see down here it says this is the root system of the plant, and this is the shoot system of the plant, everything that's above ground. Right down here we've got a little seed that's starting to sprout. This is the shoot that is starting to grow upwards out of the soil. So this would be the shoot or the shoot system. Next, we have unfurl. To unfurl means to become spread out from a rolled or folded state. So you can see this leaf and the stem is folded up a bit and it's going to open, it's going to unfurl. Same thing with the sunflower. The petals are kind of closed and rolled or folded. They're going to unfurl and open up. All right, our next word is pollen. You've probably heard this word before, but just in case you didn't know, pollen is a fine, powdery substance. Fine means very small, made of microscopic grains discharged from flowers. So microscopic means really small. You need a microscope to see it. And discharged means that the flowers are pushing it out, right? So sometimes when flowers push out that pollen, it can make you sneeze. You might be allergic to pollen. Some people are. But pollen's really important because insects and other animals and bugs like this bee, they transport or they move the pollen from flower to flower, and that helps reproduce and make new flowers. So it's really important. This pollen is really important. Our next word is floret. A floret is one of the small flowers making up a flower head. So one of the best examples I could give you, something you're probably familiar with, would be a head of broccoli. These are called broccoli florets, and you can see these ones are actually flowering. When we eat broccoli, these flowers usually haven't bloomed yet, right? But we can see all these yellow flowers that are blooming, and it's going to make one big giant flower head once they've all opened. In our story, we're going to look at a sunflower, and you can see in this image, in this photograph, the same thing is happening. Look, there's actually a bunch of tiny, tiny flowers making up this sunflower. It's really cool. So those are florets. And our last word is life cycle. So a life cycle is a series of stages in the life of an organism. So kind of like steps and what happens. Here's the life cycle of a sunflower. So you can see it starts out with the seeds, then the roots begin to grow, it sprouts and it emerges from the dirt. Then you have a baby plant, an adult plant, and then when it starts to wilt and get older, the seeds fall, and because it's a cycle, the stages start all over again. Those seeds will start to grow roots, turn into a sprout, then a baby plant, then an adult plant, and then the seeds will fall again. So that's why it is a cycle. All right, so you're going to hear all of those words when I read our book today. Now you know what each of them means. Here's our book cover. This is the front cover. Here's our title, Little Sunflower. It also says, Discover an Amazing Story from the Natural World. Now, this book cover is interesting because the front cover doesn't include the author and illustrator's names. That's very unusual. I was able to find them here in some of the additional information, though. So our author is Suzanne Fossey, And our illustrator, she drew the pictures, is Gina Maldonado. Here's our back cover as well. It tells a little bit about this book before you begin reading. So if you were at a bookstore or library, you might know if you want to check this out or if you want to buy this. All right, let's begin reading. Here's our title page, Little Sunflower. One gorgeous springy morning, all bright and warm with sun, the gardener came to see us. Our adventure had begun. "I've dug a nice fresh bed," she said, "all soft and clear of weeds. Spring's the perfect time to plant you all, my lovely seeds." Look, that one's got a little smiley face. She tipped me gently from the trowel into the cozy ground. Here's the trowel, see it? The soil was soft and warm, with worms wriggling all around. She tucked me gently into bed. "There now, off you go." It wasn't long before my little shoots began to grow. Look, there's the shoots starting to grow up. It's going to become the stem, the leaves, the flower. I stretched my shoots and boop, I burst out of the ground. All right, and look, it's going to grow taller. How wonderful it was to see the garden all around. Day by day I grew and grew. My big green leaves unfurled. Look, they're not rolled up, right? They're unfurled or unrolled. It was nearly time to show my petals to the world. So look, it's a little green sunflower. It hasn't quite turned into a full adult flower yet. Look at this. I love when books do this. The book actually turns. So there's a vertical image. I have to turn the book over so we can see the whole thing. Isn't that beautiful? At last, I was all ready. I spread my petals wide. I was a gorgeous sunflower, my face shining with pride. So even though this book has some nonfiction details, some real information, it's definitely a fiction story, right? Flowers don't have faces and things like that. I heard a gentle buzzing, and a bee came bumbling by. "Hello, flower," he said to me. "I've brought you a surprise." And bees don't talk in real life either, right? Flowers all need pollen so they can grow their seeds. We're sharing it around so every flower has what it needs. That's that pollination, right? The bees moving the pollen from flower to flower. All summer long I chatted with the bees and butterflies. As the weeks went by, I felt different inside. My petals started wilting, and all around my head I felt my tiny florets turning into seeds instead. So all of the little flowers that were making up the middle part of that sunflower, they're turning into seeds. I started feeling sleepy. I closed my eyes and then, when I opened them, I found I was a seed again. There's that little smiley seed. So that's the life cycle, right? "Look at that," the gardener said. "These seeds are just the thing. Let's collect them so that we can grow more flowers next spring." They tucked us in a packet, all dry and safe and warm. "See you all next year," my friend said with a yawn. They planted me again in spring, and day by day and hour by hour, I grew and grew until I was a beautiful sunflower. There's the cycle repeating again. And here on this back page, even though the story is over, there's some more information about the life cycles of a sunflower. It says, sunflowers start as little seeds, which are planted in the ground in spring. The seeds sprout roots, which go down, and a shoot, which goes up. The shoot pushes up through the soil and starts to grow into the stem of the sunflower. During the summer, the head of the sunflower appears, with petals around the edges and hundreds of mini flowers or florets in the middle. When insects carry pollen to the florets, they grow into seeds. At the end of the summer, the seeds in the head of the sunflower drop down onto the ground and can be picked up and planted again next spring. So there's that cycle going around and around as it repeats itself. All right, so that was our book today, Little Sunflower. I really hope you enjoyed listening to it and learning some of those new vocabulary words and learning some more about the life cycle of a sunflower plant. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.